Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle Andrew Barreto. And not much to talk about today, but we got a little bit of basketball news, some extension, a three-team trade. Not much football news, but football is back on this month. I will tell you about that. And finally, we ended off with MLB All-Star. The teams got announced. There's obviously some snubs, some guys who didn't deserve it, but we'll get into that. So to start us off, first thing we're going to talk about is a three-team trade that went down the other day. The Jazz completed a three-team trade with the Clippers and the Heat. The Jazz acquired forward Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love from Miami, and a future second-round pick from the Clippers. And John Collins ends up going to the Clippers. So, and then Norman Powell from the Clippers ends up going to Miami. So, pretty unique trade. To be completely honest, Norman Powell is a great guy off the bench. Oh no, sometimes he would start, but normally off the bench he would come off and be a huge, help for that Clippers team. When Harden would have to sub out, he would come in, and he's a guy who could put up 30 points a night if he wanted to, but he plays his role and knockdown shooter. Um, and I'm surprised that they sent him away. He was with the team for quite a while. Um, and now they get John Collins. They get a forward. Obviously, last season Clippers did have Ben Simmons, who didn't play all that much off the bench, but he was on the team. So now they get a good forward in John Collins. Um, from Utah. Previously, he was at the Atlanta Hawks, but this is a pretty strange trade to me. I mean, what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's like a bunch of old guys getting traded around. Yeah, I'm not familiar with. I mean, I've seen Norman Powell play. Yeah, he's an energy guy. I believe it was off the bench. Yeah, he would start at times, like you said. But yeah, 21.8 points per game. Wow, that's pretty darn good. To add to the Miami Heat. I'm looking at this quick article here. They got a name minus. He was a good pickup. I mean, he was on fire. It says before the All-Star game, um, averaging 24.2, 63.3% shooting. I mean, wow. Yeah. So trading him for John Collins, who he's been around the block. Um, it's almost like I think it's almost like an even trade, for those two guys. Now the Clippers end up getting John Collins, and I think in the future these guys are going to have to get younger. The Clippers, you got all
Yeah,
they got a lot of older guys there who, I mean, who knows how long they're going to be playing, or health wise, and see how long those knees continue to stay working for them. But and what was the other one? Jazz. They got Kyle Anderson. Yeah, some more oldie guys. Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, and a second round pick. So this article gives an A to everybody involved in the trade.
really.
Jazz got
I mean,
some
I think
good
I think
players.
honestly, it's probably like a for both the Heat and the Clippers. John Collins only 27, average 19 points. He will probably fit in well with Kawhi and Harden. And then Norman Powell, off the bench with for the Heat will be great. And I know Kevin Love was pretty good off the bench for the Heat. Obviously, he's up there in age. Um, for a young uh Jazz team, it would be good if they keep them on the team. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna buy out Kevin Love's contract, so he'll be a free agent. Um, they like to keep Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson's a good guy to have off the bench when he's healthy. He could play defense. He could knock down a couple shots for you. Also, he's got some many years in the league. He's got some veteran leadership there as well. But I think I would say John Collins is more of an asset than Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson. And obviously, they get the second round picks, but you don't know what those second round picks are going to end up to. So it's I'm surprised.
Sometimes
I
you just
mean,
want to load those draft picks up too. That's why I'm saying I
yeah,
like that. I like you get a cut. You get two veteran players. They still give you good minutes. Anderson, he was with the Warriors for a little bit. He gave some, like I said, good minutes. Kevin Love, with the Heat, he was doing his thing too. And 2027 second round pick, you never know who you're going to get, and just keep adding some players to the already young Jazz team, and see how that fares for them. But yeah, I see. Yeah, Kevin Love, you mentioned the buyout. Just hopefully these days the Warriors are mentioned in every conversation. Let's get
Yeah, I would
Kevin
hope
Love.
so. I've seen a couple of things. It's like, he could finally have one more run with LeBron in LA. He could return
Oh,
back to Minnesota, or what was the team that I saw? He could go back to the Cavs, run it with Donovan Mitchell. And there's a couple. I think the Warriors were up there, one of them. But before we talk about the Warriors, keep talking about the Jazz. They finally got signed Ace Bailey. He got with the team. He's played in their summer league games in Utah. He played against EJ Venducom. I don't believe I'm saying that name right. He played against the number one draft pick. Um, is it EJ? Is it ED? No, it's sure it's EJ.
is it EJ or AJ?
Yeah.
The 76ers?
Yeah. Hold on. Pretty sure it's
You're
EJ.
probably right. I'm just guessing too.
Um, but yeah, he played
V
against
VJ.
VJ. There we go. Yeah, VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah.
Those two faced off in a summer league game in Utah. VJ had about, I believe it was 27, 28 points. He balled out. Ace Bailey himself played great. It was only his first game, and then the next game he was putting up a highlight dunk off a
Mm.
lob. So he's with the team. Those summer league games in Utah are going on. I believe it's like the Sixers, the Jazz, I think the Grizzlies, and there's one more team. I can't quite recall who the last team is. But then down in Chase Center in San Francisco, they have the California Classic. It's the Kings, Warriors, Heat, and Lakers. Those four teams, all the rookies are playing. You went to the game actually. How was that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was still a good environment, and at Chase Center, they know how to get people in there. I mean, it wasn't completely packed, but it was fun. I mean, they still had a lot of the same things that they would have on a regular um, day, but a regular game. Cheerleaders and the older cheerleaders coming out, the seniors who come out and they entertain the crowd, and yeah, and then Steph Curry shows up and he's there. Doesn't need to be there. I saw an article saying like, what other top 10 player Hall of Famer shows up to a game that has just I couldn't tell you the name of the players right now. That's the kind of game it was. Meant nothing. I mean, obviously it means a whole lot to those guys on the court, but they still had a good crowd. Like I said, Curry was in the building, and that got a pretty roaring ovation there. Um, yeah, it was the Lakers. Lakers were there. Miami Heat, Spurs, and the Warriors. So
Oh, Spurs and the Warriors. Oh, the
yeah,
Kings weren't
so
there this year. It wasn't the Kings.
no
Oh,
Kings.
normally is the Kings, isn't it? I thought it was. Maybe not. But yeah, you
Yeah, no,
said so.
they had before.
Yeah, so you watched what was the Spurs and the Warriors. No, Dylan Harper, like you said last episode, right?
Right. Yeah. No, Dylan Harper. He was there though. My AJ actually he went down in the tunnel with his basketball team, and they tell you a whole bunch of things. No pictures, no video, and I'm over here telling him videotape. So he got to give high fives to Dylan Harper. He was there. I know he has a lot of Filipino um, players on his team, and they were just really excited for that right there. That really made their day. Everybody there was just like, yeah, we want to see it. But he didn't play. I'm drawing a blank on the other rookies.
Carter Bryant. Yeah.
Carter Bryant, yeah, he played, which was odd. He had 7 fouls at one point. I was like, what are the different rules in the California? Maybe you don't foul out on the California Classic.
Yeah, I don't think they could foul out in the California Classic. But
He's a 7th foul. And I'm looking around like, what was going on? Different rules, but yeah, no, it was good. It was entertaining. I think they pulled out the win, and they're still going right now, I believe.
yeah, I believe that I can't recall if the game was, I believe, yesterday. They played yesterday. Maybe no, I think they are playing today. But yeah, so that's going on, the California Classic, and then the Summer League in Vegas is happening, I believe, next week.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I saw a thing. It was like the cheapest ticket for, I believe, the game was the Lakers and the Magic, not the Magic, Mavericks, between Cooper Flag and Bronny James. $2,500.
Yeah. Hey, it's a big deal now. I don't know if you remember when we went. What was it? I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
So that's how. I mean, I've been there since that, but 2018, yeah, we were there, and you know what? It must have been like maybe $35, and we could sit
Yeah, it
wherever
was
the heck we
pretty.
want.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
cheap. I remember
and
the
we could
biggest. I
walk.
remember at the one point it was trying to see if Trey Young would play. He
Right.
didn't play.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
At least not the day we were there. Remember we
yeah.
got we had saw Spencer Dinwiddie. He had bought us Dippin' Dots. That
Spencer
was pretty cool.
Dinwiddie. We're a fan of Spencer Dinwiddie. It's just stuff like that you don't forget. It's
Yeah,
my kids still bring that up. Yeah, remember he got us Dippin' Dots. I go, yeah, I remember. But yeah, it's a great thing to do. Like if you haven't done that, it's just go to the summer. You could go early in the morning, pay general admission, which I don't know what that goes for. Now maybe it's like $50 to get in because you could actually be there, I believe, unless it's changed, and just go from they got two different areas where they're playing games, right? Going on at the same time, and you can just go back and forth. And basketball players are, strolling around the arena. Man, it's pretty cool. I remember waiting in line to get Gary Payne's autograph, and that's a pretty long line, so we didn't want to move. And walking past us was James Wiseman. He walked right by us, and I was just like stuck. Like, hey, there's Wiseman. And I was a little too slow. By the time my kids ran after him, he was already a tall guy that we couldn't find. So he was gone. We were lucky enough to meet Jonathan Kaminga when last time we were there. He was just kicking back in a corner, getting ready for his game or something like that. And my daughter and my son went up to him, and he did his infamous JK autograph. It's just J and K. That's all.
yeah,
But no, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, that was just basketball all day and all night. Now they have VIP lounges.
yeah. I'm
Like
seeing. Yeah, I think I missaid what I said earlier. Like the most expensive ticket was 2,500, probably for like
God,
courtside or something like that. But right now I'm seeing like $73. So yeah, it's definitely gone up since we went in 2018.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
the bigger name players have come up recently. 2018, yeah, there was Luca and Trey Young, but DeAndre Ayton, but they weren't like crazy. Especially Luca. I believe Luca wasn't at Summer League that year,
yeah.
so it wasn't nothing crazy. But yeah, seeing Cooper Flag. What is he? 18 years old.
Yeah. You gotta
Um,
sell that place out. That's
yeah,
gonna be like must watch TV, especially people are waiting for that. Like you said, there's not much going on right now, so people are waiting for in Vegas, of course, like everybody's there. All the players, coaches, scouts, you name it. And so yeah, Cooper Flag, that's gonna be must watch TV.
yeah, it is. He is much watched TV. He's gonna be on that Mavericks team. That should go far this year. Hopefully, they could go far this year. But we'll have to wait and see. But getting on to the big extension, um, Paulo Banchero agrees to a 5-year max extension worth up to 287 million. Paulo led the Magic to the playoffs. Obviously, they faced the Celtics in round one. Lost in five.
Mhm.
Um, However, he averaged nearly 26 points, 7.5 rebounds, and about 5 assists. He was out a good amount due to a right torn oblique, from which prevented him from making the All-Star game. Cost him 34 games. Since he played only fewer than 65 games, he was ineligible for All NBA. But he's only 22. He's young.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, he's
6'10".
all
Only
star.
improvement. All-Star, only improvement from here. I mean,
Yeah, he this is good. This is good for Orlando. It's something to be excited for. You got a young player like that who's just getting better every single year. I mean, you got to lock him up. So now they got him, like you said, to the 5-year deal. Um, they have him, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs under contract, and then they just acquired Desmond Bain. So yeah, they have higher hopes in Orlando to get past the Celtics, compete with the Knicks, Pistons,
yeah, they
and
have a
whoever else.
chance this year.
Cavs.
The only healthy team this year is it's the obviously the Knicks and Cavs. Those are gonna be the healthy teams this year. Obviously Pacers. They announced that Halliburton will be all out all of next year. Obviously, Tatum towards Achilles. They haven't announced that yet, but he'll likely be out all of next year as well. So we're gonna see some new teams on the top of the East. Hopefully, the 76ers might be back there with the healthy Joel Embiid, VJ Edgecomb, um, Tyrese Maxey, Pistons. They were the fifth seed last year. They can be back. We don't know about the Bucks. Obviously, Bucks signed Miles Turner. They did lose Dame. Um, Still some trade rumors about Giannis. But yeah, it could be an interesting season in the East. As we all know, the West will still be competitive from top to bottom. Um, so it's gonna be an interesting year. But yes, good for the Magic. They get to shore up their former number one overall pick. He was rookie of the year in 2023. Um, and then he made his All Star debut next season. He's already got a 50-point game on his resume. I mean, this guy, he's the player you're looking for. He could stretch the floor. He could get down in the paint. He could rebound. He could assist. I mean, like I said, the stats earlier, he's averaging 26, 7, and 5. I mean, that's what you want from your former first overall pick. And
So he's only the eighth player in NBA history to average at least 25, 7, and 4 at 22 or younger. Yeah, you got to lock him up. This is a smart move um, by the Magic, and yeah, like with that said, I mean he still has some incentives. He's got his money. He still has incentives if he makes an All NBA team, or if he's an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year. His his contract or his 239 maximum rookie could go up. I mean, it could actually reach 287 with incentives. So yeah, he's coming.
yes, he is. And so was that Magic team. They just also re-signed Mo Wagner on a one-year deal after he was out with the injury. But hopefully, Magic make a better run this year. Like I said, with the injuries, they have a good chance. But I'm moving on to some NFL news. I know we're all waiting for the NFL season to come. I still, you reminded me last week about the NFL fantasy. Haven't set that up yet. Got to get to that soon. Got to start sending out my texts. But at the end of this month, July 31st, the last day, basically August at that point. It's the Hall of Fame
Mm.
game. It'll be the Detroit Lions and the Chargers Thursday, July 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern in Canton, Ohio. Obviously, it's preseason. No one really cares. I don't think I probably won't even watch this. I'll just like to see
Yeah,
who's the Hall of Fame class, which is Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, and Sterling Sharp. Um, I probably won't watch the game, but it's football. People are excited. People are
yeah. It
ready
just
to
gets
put
it
bets on.
started. Like you said, yeah. There's going to be some people. Yeah, exactly. There'll be some people. Maybe they're doing some FanDuel. Maybe some over and under. Um, but yeah, like you said, that's just around the corner. Football's coming, and the end of the month we get that Hall of Fame game, which is it's mostly about, like you said, the Hall of Famers getting inducted. This is just like something they do, yearly in Ohio, and introduce everybody who's going to have the honors of being inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so I mean, these are two teams. I mean, Chargers, Lions, they don't have a rookie quarterback, so there's no big rookie that probably will be playing in this game. So, like I said, most people I probably won't be watching. But speaking of football, season 2 of quarterback. No, 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 not season 2. Is it season 2? Quarterback on Netflix is out,
Yeah,
and I know Gerald Burrow is one of the quarterbacks. Yeah, I believe it is season 2 because they had receivers last year. So now their quarterback
right.
season 2 is out. I gotta watch that. I gotta see who the quarterbacks are. I know Joe Burrow for sure is one of them. Because it was interesting season last year. A lot of disappointments, a lot of ups and downs for a lot of these great quarterbacks. So I'd advise you watch that. I didn't watch season 1. I think most of it was about Patrick Mahomes, and as a Raider fan, we don't like Patrick Mahomes. So we will move on
Well, wait,
from
okay, I'm
that.
looking at this right now. Is it official? It says Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins again now. He was on the, or maybe that was I thought
And
he was on season 1, or maybe that was
I don't
it
think he
wasn't.
was on season 1. Let's see, season
Yeah, I think so.
2. I don't think he was on. I know season 1 is Mahomes. Yeah, it says
Well, it was
Joe
Kirk
Burrow, Kirk
Cousins
Cousins, Jared Goff. Was it Kirk
and
Cousins season 1? Maybe it was
Mariota.
season 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mariota was.
Well,
It was
they
Patrick
probably have a
Mahomes. Yeah,
lot
it
of
was Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
it's
they
gonna be
have
interesting because Kirk started the year and then didn't play, was benched.
they have
So that's gonna.
a lot of interesting film probably on Kirk Cousins. I mean, them drafting Penix. I mean, yeah, he wasn't too happy about that. First, they signed him
Yeah,
to a pretty meaty contract, and then they draft a quarterback that they'd even had their front office, in Atlanta,
yeah.
scratching
I
their
mean,
head at what they were going to do. So yeah, it's interesting.
it is, and then obviously Burrow, great year. He put up MVP numbers, but they just didn't win any games. I mean, missed the playoffs. And then Jared Goff, he was, they were looking like the favorites to win it all. And then they just crumbled. I mean, they dealt with a lot of injuries defensively, and then they crumbled in that NFC division series against the Commanders. So we'll get to see how that ends up panning out. But yeah, that's all really it is football. Not much. Obviously, training camp, it's going to be August soon. Football season starts September, so that's exciting. But moving on to MLB. Not much MLB news, not much trades have gone on as we get closer and closer to the deadline. But the All-Star teams were announced. In the American League, Kyle Raleigh, obvious starter. He's obviously going to be in MVP competition with Judge. Um, Vlad Guerrero was starting first baseman. There was some speculation that they said Jonathan Aranda should have been the starter for Tampa Bay, but goes to Vlad. Gleyber Torres, the first year Detroit Tiger from the Yankees, earns the second base. He's been on fire. I remember I picked him up on my fantasy. He's been great. Jose Ramirez, he's been good as well, obviously in Cleveland. The rookie out of Sacramento, uh, Jacob Wilson from the A's, obviously I believe he's still leading. Actually, I don't know. He might still be leading the American League in batting average. He gets the starting shortstop over Bobby Witt Jr. and Jeremy Pena. Of course, Judge was the first selected from the fans. Riley Green from Detroit and Javi Baez. Detroit has not three starters and as a position players. Javi Baez, his first year as the outfield, he's been great. He's returned back to that Cubs form. He's batting 276. He's got 10 home runs, 39 RBIs. He's been great for the Tigers. They're the first. They're the I believe they're the best team in the AL. And then the DH is Ryan O'Hearn. Before Rafael Devers got traded to the Giants. It was supposed to be Devers, but now he's out of the AL. Ryan O'Hearn gets the knock. He's been great. He's batting 287, 11 home runs, 32 RBIs. Um, and then the reserves, Alejandro Kirk from Toronto. Reminder, everyone, every team gets an All-Star, which I think is pretty cool. They have the positions, they have the players for it. I think some people don't like that. I personally, I
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that each team gets an All-Star. I mean, it's pretty, it's not like I mean, baseball, I'd say, is one of the more serious All Star games. These guys actually try. They try to score. They try to, unlike NFL, which has become flag football. NBA just become
200 to 250 or
yeah.
whatever the score is. No defense.
I
Just
remember a couple. I remember a couple of years ago that I'm pretty sure the All Star game for the MLB was 2-1. Um, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Every team gets a representative. I think it's a great way for at least one guy in like the White Sox or the Rockies to get recognition. But yeah, going back to the reserves though. Alex Bregman from Boston. Obviously he's out with injury, but he is and also Jonathan Aranda, like I said earlier. Jazz Chisholm, Brandon Lowe from Tampa Bay, Jeremy Pena, Bobby Witt, Junior Caminero. Tampa Bay's got a couple reserves. They've been great. Um, they've been actually. I think they're up there competing with the Yankees, Blue Jays, um, for that AL East. Um, and then Byron Buxton from Minnesota, Stephen Kwan from Cleveland. Julio Rodriguez is the person that people are seeing as like, how did he make it? He hasn't been great this year. He's batting 247. He got 11 home runs, 44 RBIs. Um, yeah, a lot of speculation on Julio Rodriguez making the All Star game. Many people thought um, other people should have made it. They didn't. They felt like he didn't deserve to be an All Star, but we move. And then Brent Rooker from the A's, he's also made it. has
Hey, you
18
got two
homers.
guys.
They got two guys. No pitcher. Last year, Mason Miller was their all-star. He hasn't had the same stats as he did last year. And then they're starting pitchers. Hunter Brown from Houston. He's been great. He's in Cy Young conversation. Same with Chris Bubbick from Kansas City. Garrett Crochet, Jacob DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom back in the All Star game. This guy, I remember, used to be on top of the baseball world with how fast he would pitch. Um, but yeah, he's pitched 106 innings, 2.29 ERA. He has been great. Um, and then Max Fried from New York, obviously. The Angels All Star is Yusei Kikuchi. Um, he's been pretty good. 3.02 ERA in 19 games, pitched 107 innings. Tariq Skubal, obviously, the Cy Young winner for last year. And Shane Smith from the White Sox, he gets the nudge for the White Sox. And then Brian Wu from Seattle, the underrated, probably the most underrated pitcher. And like I'd say, he's pitched 107 innings, 104 strikeouts, 2.77 ERA. He's also in Cy Young conversation. He has been great. And the relief pitchers are Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader, and Andres Munoz. Those three have been spectacular this year. And now on to the National League. Will Smith, obvious. Um, he was obvious starting catcher. Catchers haven't been super great this year, but he's obviously been on fire. Freddie Freeman made it. He's batting above 300. Ketel Marte, best second baseman in baseball. Manny Machado makes it in as a starter over. Um, he's blanking on me. Third baseman from Gavin Lux. Not Gavin Lux. Max Muncy. Francisco Lindor, starting shortstop. Ronald Acuna has been phenomenal ever since he returned from his ACL injury. And then Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker from Chicago. Those two have been great. And then obviously Otani was the most voted, so he obviously got the nod at DH.
A lot of
And
Dodgers.
a lot of Dodgers. And then the reserves, Hunter Goodman, the Colorado Rockies catcher. He's been one of the bright spots for the Rockies. He gets their All Star. Pete Alonso as a starting first baseman. Some people believed Alonso should have been the starting first baseman over Freddie Freeman, but he's still on the team. Elidale Cruz from the Reds. He's a reserve. Brendan Donovan. He's been great for St. Louis. Matt Olson for Atlanta. Eugenio Suarez from Arizona. This guy is just phenomenal. Corbin Carroll's been phenomenal. Kyle Stowers has been phenomenal from Miami. To me, as a Padres fan, I'm surprised Fernando Tatis made the All Star game. He started off hot. He was great to start the season. Then he got hit with the pitch and hasn't really been the same. I mean, his numbers aren't terrible, but I don't feel like he should have made it. James Wood, he probably should have been a starter too. But he makes it the young outfielder from Washington, and then Kyle Schwarber is the final DH. Many people are upset that Juan Soto did not make the All Star team. Still reserve replacements have to come out. Um, but Soto was not one of the players on the All Star team. I know earlier this year. We made an episode talking about his, how he's been disappointing. And, they
Yeah.
gave him the $800 million contract, and he's been disappointed. But he's stepped it up, and he's been great. His numbers have been there. I mean, obviously he's one of the best in baseball. But yeah, he didn't make it, and a lot of people are surprised. Um, like I said, I feel like he probably should have made it over Fernando Tatis. Another snub people are saying is Andy Pages from the Dodgers. He's been great, after he struggled last year. Um, I think he also should have made it over Tatis, but
Yeah.
yeah, and he's not another snub, but Mookie Betts, he's a guy who struggled this year. Um,
Is he on there?
normally he's not on there. Normally he
Oh,
is an
he's
All
not.
Star. But he has struggled this year. Normally he's in the outfield. This year he's playing shortstop. I still don't know why they're experimenting him at shortstop when they have guys like Tommy Edman and Ha-Sung Kim that could play shortstop. But they have him at shortstop, and he's been okay defensively, but offensively he's just not the same player that he normally is. But going back to the pitchers in the NL, Matthew Boyd from Chicago, the Cubs. He's at a 2.52 ERA in 103 innings. Mackenzie Gore from Washington, he leads the league in strikeouts. Clayton Kershaw was a legend pick. He was a pick by Rob Manfred. I don't know what we're giving out charity All-Star games here, I guess. I mean, he's a legend. Obviously, he hit 3,000 strikeouts the other
Do they
day,
have a
the
legend
last
pick
week.
every year?
I don't think
Yeah.
they do,
Do
but
they do that every year or just this
I guess just this year. But he hit 3,000 strikeouts last week. He obviously is a Hall of Fame pitcher. I just don't feel like should have been there. Freddie Peralta from Milwaukee makes it. He's been great. 2.74 ERA, 111 strikeouts, and then the Giants got some starters. The Giants got two starting pitchers in the All-Star game, Robbie Ray and Logan Webb. Those two have been phenomenal. Webb's top of the Cy Young race. He's at a 2.62 ERA, 120 innings, 133 strikeouts. And Robbie Ray's been phenomenal. Obviously, coming off the Tommy John last year, he played a couple games. 2.62 ERA this year, 109 innings, 120 strikeouts. He just threw a complete game against the Diamondbacks the other day. Chris Sale, obviously in Atlanta, he's injured. They're going to need a replacement for him. Paul Skeens, we all know Paul Skeens is phenomenal.
year?
1.94 ERA. Too bad he's on the Pirates because he's got 4 wins to 7 losses. Um, Zach Wheeler from Philly, he's been great. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is also one of the starters, but he's got a replacement, and that's Andrew Abbott from Cincinnati. Andrew Abbott's been great, 2.15 ERA in 83 innings. He's 7-1 in his starts. And then the relief pitchers, Jason Adam from San Diego, I believe it's well deserved. I'm pretty sure he leads the league in appearances. He's at 1.61 ERA. He's pitched 44 and 2/3 innings with 52 strikeouts. And then Edwin Diaz of the Mets. Randy Rodriguez, another Giant. Um, this guy's been phenomenal. He's pitched 39 innings, 39 games, .69 ERA.
Ooh, filthy.
Yeah, he's been great. He's one of the he's if not he's one of if not the best reliever. And then since Robert Suarez is also in the All-Star game, he must be a replacement because he at first did not make it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, not I mean obviously every All-Star game there's snubs. People will miss out. They call Trae Young in the NBA.
Yeah,
You
all
got
the
Trey
time.
when someone gets snubbed the All-Star game in the NBA, they just say you got trade. Because Trae Young's always averaging almost about a double double, and he never makes the All-Star game. But yeah, so that rounds out the All-Star game that will be played. Um, I don't not. I'm pretty sure it's not next week. But I know All-Star breaks next week. The home run derby consists of Cal Raleigh, James Wood, Byron Buxton, Ronald Acuna Jr., and now O'Neal Cruz just announced today he's gonna do it. So some hard hitting hitters will be in that home run derby. And that's I say right now, currently in between the three big sports, MLB probably has the best All-Star game.
Right.
Um I will admit, the 3-point contest in the NBA is pretty good. NFL,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about NFL. Their Pro Bowl,
No,
it's not their All-Star, but their Pro Bowl,
NFL.
it's
I
bad.
read they have the
Um
Pro Bowl, and it's like, yeah, I gotta go check them out in Hawaii back in the day, and now I think they move around. I believe they go different places, Vegas and wherever. But
yeah,
yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
it's it's an exhibition
MLB,
that they really, like you said, MLB they get a little bit more aggressive and competitive, and yeah, even basketball, that last one, they'll be revamping that basketball game again because that one was a joke last year.
yeah,
Um,
they did make a change. They did what there's 4 different teams.
yeah,
With the legends and stuff. This year they're thinking of doing USA versus World. Um,
it's a good
so
thought.
world,
They keep thinking
yeah,
about how to keep the audience's attention because, yeah, I mean, after a while, like last year, you end up seeing the young guys, they end up losing quick, so you don't see the new up and coming guys get to flash any kind of they don't get on the floor again. It's just it's kind of odd, but we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. They're always, you know, um, thinking of how to improve, probably at every single sport. So,
yeah,
but yeah, these teams, they sound pretty interesting. I'm a little shocked about the. You said that's a rookie shortstop from the A's.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson, you had drafted last year. Um, Now he started for the All. Not drafted last year. He drafted the year before. I lied.
Hmm.
Nick Kurt was drafted last year for the A's. He's always their starting first baseman. But yeah, Jacob Wilson starting All Star is pretty impressive as the young rook. You know, he's got the unique batting stance. But he gets the job done. He gets started nine, and it's good to see. The A's. Playing in the AAA stadium. Obviously, still have probably the worst owner in the MLB, but good for Jacob Wilson and Brent Rooker to support their team, represent for the A's. But yeah, like I said, MLB just does it best. For years, MLB, the home run derby, people love it, and like I said, the All Star game itself is competitive. But that will be all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle, for joining me today. I know there wasn't much to talk about, but still got to be consistent. We still got to talk about everything that's going on. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. And until next time, stay ready.